Who should we blame for drug addiction? Is it people using drugs, abusive families, or underfunded health services, economic inequality? This question of whether addiction is the result of poor decision-making by individuals or of larger forces in society has been at the heart of the debate about drugs for the last 100 years. It affects how all people using drugs are treated by everyone around them, including family members, clinicians, and employers. With my thesis, I don't argue for either side of this debate, but instead that we shouldn't be trying to answer this question at all, because this black and white way of thinking simply does not map onto the real-world experience of people using drugs. Focusing on methamphetamine use, I have used ethnography to explore how people experience their own willpower or self-control throughout recovery. Methamphetamine is a cheap and widely available illicit stimulant that gives you a sensation of connection, euphoria, and energy. Ethnography is the academic practice of stalking somebody with their permission. I went to people's homes, met with their families, sat in on their appointments, drove them to court, watched as they tried to change. After doing this with 12 people over 6 months, what did I find? Well, I found that when you sit and talk with people using methamphetamine and non-creepily observe them for a long time, you find that they, just like anyone else, sometimes feel in control, sometimes not, sometimes sort of. That their decisions about drug use emerge from a complex interaction of many factors, including housing, family dynamics, social marginalization, and trauma. The same chaotic swirl of life from which all of our decisions emerge. So when you ask people if they're in control of drug use, you get weird answers. For one participant, Bridget, it could feel both like a choice and not a choice at the same time. For Jack, who was homeless, it felt like a choice, but also the only choice he had. Carl described his latest lapse as the perfect storm, where everything came together to make drug use inevitable. It's not enough to say that these participants simply lacked self-control. They used drugs in the same way flowers will grow towards the sun. These findings suggest that instead of treating, criticizing, or penalizing individuals' supposed lack of willpower, we should instead be giving them different and brighter sources of light. And the more time we spend on a black and white debate about whether individuals are to blame for their addiction, the further away we get from the complex and colourful nature of how we really experience life, and the longer they suffer. Thank you.